recording. Second time. Only the second time. A little ASMR for those of you that enjoy that. For those of you like me that don't enjoy ASMR, I'm really sorry for that. I felt so inclined to do it. Okay. Great. What's up, wildflowers? Welcome back to another podcast episode. I am feeling great, actually, which is really shocking because it's just been a rough, I can't even say day or week or month. It's just been a rough year, a rough recent life. And I don't know if I say that like every time I come on here. I honestly don't remember. And that's part of why life has been so rough. I literally can't remember anything. But I'm in a really good mood today because I got a lot done this weekend. I started packing. I'm going on a trip next week for spring break. I'm going home to Jersey to see my family. And I am beyond ecstatic about it. I haven't seen them in 2 years, which is so unusual for us. But thanks to COVID, I had to refrain from being with them and seeing them. But I finally get to go this Saturday. It's Sunday right now as I'm recording this, but I get to go Saturday. So I'm super excited. I'm in such a good mood. Got up this morning. Don't really remember what I did, but I know I did a photo shoot and I love the way the photos turned out. You can go check those out on my Instagram at Wildflower. It will be linked down in the description or show notes, wherever you're listening to or watching this. So yeah, and then after that, I literally ate and took a nap and woke up and I'm here. I made my coffee and I'm feeling good. So I figured might as well record the podcast episode because I need some content for this week, but also I just really want to talk to you guys. I really miss you guys. I miss talking. I miss my platform where it is all about mental health because I feel like I talk about my mental health so much now because it is my life. It's such a prominent part of my life now. And again, like I'm always talking about it because I'm always dealing with it and I'm always needing an outlet to talk about it. However, the few people that I can talk about it with, I feel like I never want to get to a point where I'm redundant and I'm at that point. I feel like a broken record. I feel like I'm like ranting about and complaining about the same things over and over and over again. And I hate that. And no matter how many times these people in my life reassure me like it's okay, like we're here for you to try and carry some of that weight or just to be there for you, I still feel like I'm getting redundant, I'm, being annoying, and no matter how many times they reassure me, I'm always going to feel like that, I think. So, it's just nice to have this platform where it is all about mental health, and obviously if you don't want to listen, you do not have to, and I do not take offense to that whatsoever. But this is just my space to just talk about whatever. So, in honor of that, I guess, today I wanted to talk about a more relevant topic to my current life, which is depersonalization and derealization. I just want to say a disclaimer, I have not been diagnosed with this by a psychiatrist. I have just done a lot of research and just put a lot of puzzle pieces together. I actually figured this out through reading a couple quotes on Instagram and of people like quoting their experience with depersonalization and derealization, and like realizing that I relate and going back through and doing more research on what exactly these things are. So I just wanted to talk to you guys today about kind of the gist of what it is and then how I experience it, and yeah, just how I go through it, how I get through it, how I'm dealing with it. I felt like I was at a point where I wanted to wait until I got through it to talk about my experience with it, but to be honest, like I don't really see myself getting through this. Not saying that I won't, I just don't see myself doing so, and I don't see the point where I am through this, and I don't know how long that's going to be. So I just really wanted to talk about it now, and it'll also be like a good point of comparison when and if I do overcome this to like look back and see like, oh, that's what it was like to be in it and this is how I feel now. Since this is such a sensitive topic to me and this is so relevant to my right now, I thought I just wanted to make this a bit more fun for myself, keep it a little bit upbeat. So, for my visual people, my YouTube people, I'm gonna be painting my nails. Nothing super crazy, just white gel, but I had to get this done anyway, so I was like, why not kill two birds with one stone? Look down here, we've got our other angle. Hey. So I feel like the first thing Oh, I didn't realize you're gonna be able to hear that. Okay, I'm gonna file my nails really quick off record so you don't have to listen to this noise, and then I will come back. Okay, I'm done. I just did something pretty quick, simple. Okay, so I guess first I could talk about like the definition of depersonalization, derealization. Actually, let me look it up right now. From what I've read about and from what I've learned so far, it's really deep. So there are two different things. You could have one or you could have both. Depersonalization is really like some of the symptoms could be like you look in the mirror and you don't recognize who you are, even though like maybe you've looked at yourself obviously like your entire life, like you know what you look like, but you really question if that's what you look like. Another symptom of depersonalization could be an out of body experience where you're literally watching yourself from the outside. And then derealization is simply just like you really don't believe that you exist. You feel like you're in a dream and you feel like everyone else is going about their life and you are the only one that's aware that you're dreaming, if that makes sense. Or you feel like you're in some kind of like alternate reality and everybody else is dreaming and you're the only one that's awake. So that's kind of what I'm getting from what I've read, and I've experienced most of those symptoms. I've experienced looking at myself and not knowing who I am. I've gone back through and like watched my YouTube videos and stuff, and I stare at myself for as long as these videos are, and it's just so weird to me like that's me. And I've also dealt with that like looking in the mirror. I don't look in the mirror like a bunch of times throughout the day. I probably only look in the mirror maybe 2 or 3 times a day, to be completely honest. Um, I don't even really like stare at myself when I use the bathroom at school. So when I do look at myself, it's really like, it's just weird to see that after going through the day and like feeling like something and then looking in the mirror and not looking how I feel, if that makes sense. But I'm going to look up the actual definition. So let's look at mayoclinic.org. Is it Mayo or Mayo? I don't know. Overview. Depersonalization derealization disorder occurs when you persistently or repeatedly have the feeling that you're observing yourself from outside your body, or you have a sense that things around you aren't real, or both. Feelings of depersonalization and derealization can be very disturbing and may feel like you're living in a dream. Many people have a passing experience of depersonalization or derealization at some point, but when these feelings keep occurring or never completely go away and interfere with your ability to function, it's considered Dpdr. This disorder is more common in people who've had traumatic experiences. Dpdr can be severe and may interfere with relationships, work, and other daily activities. The main treatment for Dpdr is talk therapy, which is psychotherapy, although sometimes medications are used. So that's the overview of what it is. And that was the gist of kind of what I got from it. It took me a long time to realize that this is what I was going through and connect the dots. I didn't really know that this was a thing. Back to what the overview was saying, everybody experiences at some point. You have had or will have some point in your life where you're doing something, whether you're completing a daily activity or whether you're just sitting doing nothing. You will have a moment in your life where everything is just, it's crazy. I've talked about before how reality is just such a weird concept to me, like, cells, organs, systems, and people, and society, and language, and supposed evolution, and global warming, and just all of these things, how crazy it is, and how intricate it is, and how intricate life is, and being completely and totally unable to grasp that in such a way that it actually hurts me. And everyone will experience that at some point. You will have a moment or a few sporadically in your life where you realize this is crazy. Like, I have a life and I'm breathing, and my body is, my brain is telling my body to do things. And there are, 7 billion other people in the world whose bodies also, or whose brains also tell them to do things, and they have their own lives. Like, everyone will experience Sonder at some point. But for me, it wasn't just that one moment when I was sitting in a bathroom realizing, wow, like, this is crazy. I can get up and wash my hands and do this, and earlier I did this, and this. It's not just like that. Like, every single second of every single day of my life is like that, and I don't remember a time when it wasn't. I know that I didn't always feel like this, because if I'd always felt like this, if this had been all that I'd known, I wouldn't think it was so weird, and I wouldn't be uncomfortable with it, because it would be all that I know. However, it's not all that I know, because I know for a fact that there was one point in my life where I was quote unquote asleep, where I was going about my life, this autonomic lifestyle, never thinking twice about anything or how things work or just the idea of everything. But now I question every single thing that I do. Right now, I'm clipping my cuticles, and it just doesn't feel like I'm doing this. It doesn't feel like I'm recording a podcast. It doesn't feel like I have a podcast. Like, I don't feel like I'm a person. I feel just like this being who is way too aware of my so-called life and everyone else's life and other people, and the idea of, again, just everything. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing this right now. I keep looking at the viewfinder of the video recording, and it just doesn't look like me, and it's weird to think that I look like that. And hearing myself talk, it's weird to think that I sound like this, and it's just crazy to think about how I got here and everything like that. So again, it's normal to have this experience when it's just sporadic, or when you have it once, once a year, or once in a while, and just to realize, like, wow, life is crazy, but then go back to that kind of autonomy. But I haven't been able to do that. Just one day I like woke up and I never went back to sleep. And it's scary for me. I think about it every day. It's the root of my anxiety a lot of the times. And um, it really makes it hard to live, because I have part of this conscious awareness that I have is that because I don't feel like my life is real, I don't feel like, sometimes it's hard for me to believe that my actions impact other people. So all of this people pleasing that I've done throughout my entire life, and all of this just like beating around the bush to make everybody else in my life comfortable, and not making decisions that I really want to make because, someone's going to be upset about it or things like that. Um, Knowing that, and then having this feeling of like, again, is this so-called reality really real, or do I control all of this? It hurts, and it makes me upset, because it makes me feel like I can make any decision, and yet I'm not, because the truth about this so-called reality isn't clear. The fact that I have the idea that maybe this is a reality, maybe it isn't, and maybe I can control things and it will only affect me and maybe it won't, not knowing for sure is harboring all of the decisions that I could ever make in a single day and in my entire life, if that made any sense. So, like, one example I have, a very, small example compared to what I have been thinking. If I wanted to go vandalize a building right now, because of my like derealization, I feel like on one hand, because I've grown up and everybody's been like, no, like that's illegal, don't do that. You could go to jail. Obviously, I don't want to do it. And obviously, that scares me from doing it. But because of my derealization, another part of me is like, well, if this life isn't real, what if you did go vandalize a building? And then what if you did go get thrown in jail and you escaped? Like, just stuff like that. And I mean, that's literally one of the more like calm and like less exotic thoughts that I've had about it. But it's just really frustrated me, like not knowing for sure, because I just can't, I can't make any decisions. Like, I want to be happy and I want to live my life, like very intentionally, but also just very, not recklessly, but like, I just want to be free and I just want to do what I got to do. And another example is like staying in school or dropping out. Like, if this was really just my reality and I was the only one affected, like, I would drop out of school and I would go do stuff that makes me happy. I would create, I would, you know, probably finish YouTube, not finish YouTube, but like continue with YouTube, continue with graphic design and all of that stuff. And just, again, just do stuff that makes me happy. If this was really just my reality, like instead of forcing myself to get up and go to school every single day, even though I know it doesn't make me happy and I know it gives me anxiety, like finally taking that day where I say, I'm not getting up today and I'm not going. I need a mental health day. But because I have no confirmation that like this is or isn't just affecting me, or like, can I get real consequences from this, I guess, I'm still out of fear just getting up and doing all the mundane things that I don't want to be doing. And that bothers me. And that's been one of the greatest things that, one of the greatest things that has been contributing to my depression is just like not knowing what decisions I can and can't make, because I really have no confirmation of like what reality is anymore. And my concept of reality is gone. And I've been experiencing this for well over a year. It might even be 2 years now, but I don't remember. I remember talking to my mom about this once, just sitting in the car, and I don't even remember how we got to the conversation, but we got to it. And I think she must have asked me something along the lines of like, what's been going on lately or something. And I just remember telling her, like, I'm having an out of body experience. Like, I'm not convinced that I'm here. I'm not convinced that anything I'm doing is really happening, is really real. I'm really experiencing the things that I know I'm going through. And I think all she said was like, I think at that point, all we really did was put me back in therapy. Which I love my therapist and she's really helpful. It's really nice to have someone to talk to, especially an unbiased professional. However, it's not enough, because it's gotten so bad at this point to where I cannot function on a day-to-day basis without just wanting to just fall into a dark hole, with no responsibilities, no anything, not having to worry about anything, so I can like regather my thoughts and recontemplate reality. And that's hard for me, and that's hard for anyone, let alone a 16-year-old, let alone a 16-year-old that already has a reputation and a standard and all of these things built around her and all these traits that people expect from her, to be, because of what she's done in the past, which sucks to be held to those things because I don't even remember that person that set those expectations or let those standards be set. So that's another aspect that just really sucks, is like I'm living in the shadow of a person that I don't even know anymore and that I don't remember. So that, I think I started dealing with this like 2 years ago. But again, I still don't remember. And I don't remember the specific day where I just woke up and was like, am I real? Is this real? And how much control and power do I really have or not have? So we tried therapy. Obviously, it didn't work. It's done nothing but get worse every single day. It gets worse. It's not even like every week, every month. It's every single day it gets worse. And I have no idea how to cope with it. I feel like how it is now is I wake up, I am anxious, and I feel as though, well, this is in the morning and throughout the day. I feel as though I'm not looking at myself from like outside of my body per se. However, I'm farther back in my body, if that makes sense. So when usually I would be at the very forefront of my body, just very connected. I feel like for my YouTube watchers, you have a better visual. I feel like my face is out here. I have my hand about like 6 inches from my face. My face is out here, and my body, or my soul, my face and my body are like out here. My soul is back here where I am. And that's, I don't know. Like I feel like I'm very aware of like I can almost see my eye sockets. If that's, I'm so sorry if that's too gory for some people, but I can. It's almost like I can see my eye sockets. I can see my nose. I'm very consciously aware of my skin and my body, and it's very, very far from where my soul is and the part of me that's like really doing all the thinking and has the mind and all of that. But what my day usually looks like is I'll wake up, and before I can even form a coherent thought, I'm already battling anxiety and this vibrating feeling I think I've talked about before, of just going to school, of knowing it's a weekday, so I have to deal with that. Some mornings I cry it out right in bed. Some mornings it's like 20 minutes before I have to leave out the door. So I wake up feeling like that, and I sit there for a good 10 minutes contemplating if this is going to be the day that I just don't get up. Every day I've still gotten up though, and then I get up. Usually I'll roll over, go to the bathroom, and then as I'm like washing my face, I don't like really looking at myself. So like I'll particularly just look at my skin, like I won't look into my eyes. It just makes me very uncomfortable because again, I just do not recognize the person that is. Like I know that it's me, obviously, but I'm not convinced that it's me, like in any way, shape, or form. After that, I'll usually get breakfast. Again, still not convinced that I'm really doing any of this, really controlling any of my bodily movements. I'll get in the car, go to school, show up at school, and then not remember any of the car ride. And think it's like really weird that I remember getting in the car and then in nothing flat, I'm at school, walking to classes, sitting in classes. I'm constantly aware of the fact that I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm there and I'm listening, and I know my body is there, and I don't remember how I got here, but I know that I'm here. I'm very aware that I'm here. I'm aware that people in my class are aware that I'm here. But I get into this phase where, and it usually happens for majority of the class. In the few classes that I have where the teachers actually stand up and do their job, I can listen for maybe 5-10 minutes before the derealization comes back in stronger. And I'm sitting there listening to them, and it starts fading out like a Charlie Brown movie. Like, you know how all the adults in Charlie Brown just go, wah, wah, wah? That's literally what I hear. And it's crazy to explain it because, again, it does not feel real, but their voices actually fade out and get quieter. And I'm so focused on how uncomfortable I am with the fact that I don't believe in what's going on and in the moment. So I have to deal with that for 7 class periods. I think it's worse throughout the end of the day because by the end of the day, I don't really have any like friends in my classes. I think after fourth, yeah. Well, actually, after third period, I really don't have any like friends in my classes. So I'm really not really talking to or engaging with anybody, which makes it a lot worse because not only am I going through derealization, but I'm going through it myself because I'm not talking to anyone in a, like means that will distract me even for a few minutes. So it's like, especially in the classes where I'm sitting alone and just staring at my computer and working on my work is when it really gets bad because yes, I'm in a room full of people, but I'm alone. And when I'm alone with my thoughts and I'm alone in my work and I'm focused and my social anxiety gets worse as well. And I'm um, my mind is very insistent on just contemplating every single little detail about everything that I'm doing and going through. And so yeah, so it gets really bad end of the day and then by the time class finishes, I'll usually sit in my teacher's room for like 30-ish minutes before my mom comes to pick me up. And while I'm sitting there, I'm still going through it and I'm just trying to breathe and just trying to relax. Um, but then that time will pass like nothing and I'll be walking to her car when she finally gets there and I get in the car, I'm sitting in the car and the whole ride home all I can think about is I don't remember anything that happened today. And it's really annoying and it's really frustrating, especially because usually the first question that I get when I get picked up or when I get home or anything when I see anyone after a school day is how was school? And I've honestly stopped. Well, I think I still sometimes I still say good. But more recently, more and more, I've stopped lying about it because I used to just get in the car and say, yeah, good. Like, let's leave it at that end of discussion because I really don't want to talk about it. But more recently, I have been a bit more open about it. Not open like I want to have a discussion about how terrible my day was because I don't remember any of it, but just more honest for the sake of myself. Like, when people ask me that question now, I'm like, I don't remember most of it. I took a nap in 3 out of 7 periods, but that's all that I can remember. Because that's also how it is now. So back through my day, I've been taking naps in third, fourth if I finish my work early, um, or if I'm just so exhausted that I can't even keep my eyelids open, and then sixth. So third, fourth, and sixth, I've been taking naps. Literally just been falling asleep because my eyelids get so heavy and I'm so tired from dealing with anxiety, from just being the mentally tired, not the tired, like don't have any sleep tired, but the mentally tired, like I'm tired of going through what I'm going through, tired. And to my body, that translates to, well, hey, let's go to sleep. Um, so again, lately, when I get asked that question, I've just been like, yeah, I don't remember most of it. Um, and I'm really at a point where I do not know what to do about it. I need to go back to therapy. I know that. I know that I need to go back to therapy. That's a no-brainer. But even that hasn't been doing enough. I need to go to the doctor and I need to see a psychiatrist actually and talk about a treatment plan other than just psychotherapy because it's not doing enough. Even when I was going regularly, it's just not doing enough. So, need to go back to therapy, but also need to see a psychiatrist. I need to see a regular doctor too for all of these other physical symptoms that I've been feeling and experiencing. And I really just need someone to validate me and say, like, validate or invalidate, honestly, be honest with me. Um, if I have it or not, but honestly, I think I don't know what else it could be. Um, And I have like, sometimes when I bring it up, especially to adults and stuff, they're like, oh, like, don't diagnose yourself. And I'm like, well, obviously you're not taking me to the doctor to get a real diagnosis. So I'm just trying to put the puzzle pieces together, and, so that I can just reassure myself that if I know what this is, or I know what this could be, I potentially know the next few steps, or where to look for advice on the next few steps on how to deal with this. So yeah, I mean, it can't be anything other than Dpdr. Like, I just don't see how it couldn't be. Like, obviously I don't want anything else to deal with, any other mental health or physical health issue, but the fact that I know that I am is like, I can't just ignore it and be like, oh, well, I'm not going to self-diagnose, because what is my other option right now? I don't have anyone taking me to the doctor, no matter how many times I bring it up, no matter how many times I talk about it, no matter how many times I try to explain like how severe my situation is. No one's helping me out here. So what else am I supposed to do, and where else am I supposed to, you know, seek these like steps from, and like where to go and how to try and deal with this? But yeah, my next steps through this are to go to my psychotherapist first, and just be like, hey, I've done my research on Dpdr and I think I have it. There's no real like diagnosis criteria for mental health, unless you have like depression or PTSD. I don't know about the others, but I know for a fact depression and PTSD can show up on an MRI, because depression is actually it's a pure chemical imbalance if you have chronic depression. And then PTSD, I think your brain mass is like, or your brain density is like lower or something like that. I don't remember, but you can actually see those on an MRI scan. But stuff like anxiety and I think Dpdr, there isn't really a like diagnosis criteria. However, psychotherapists and psychiatrists usually have like a checklist of symptoms, and they'll ask you some questions, and if you match like a certain level of the criteria, or if you get a certain score on the test, they'll be like, okay, you most likely have this. So I want to go to my psychotherapist and be like, hey, I've done my research on this. I think this is what I have. Can you tell me if this could be it? And then if she's like, yeah, you've got that, or yeah, you could have that, I'll have her recommend me to a psychiatrist to explore my treatment options, because I can't do this on my own anymore. And I've known that for a long time at this point, that all of the get up and do yoga and go outside and breathe and exercise and eat right, like all of that stuff, I've tried it and it's just out the window for me, because I'm at a point where I don't even have the energy to do all of this stuff. So it's like, it's really a cycle, because it's like, healthy eating and good exercise and, engaging in social activities and all that stuff is supposed to help with mental illness. But it's like, if I don't even have the energy to do that, I can't do it. So I need at least my energy back to start doing that stuff, and then, try and help it, but still like, have medication aid. And I know it's not going to like fix everything. But they're, all of these natural remedies and stuff aren't doing anything on their own. So that's my next step to everything. My next few steps, I'm going to try. I know since I'm going on vacation next week, well, this week actually, oh my gosh, it feels so good to say that. Since I'm going on vacation this week, I'll probably have my mom schedule an appointment for the week when I get back. Yeah. And then I'll just schedule all the appointments after that, because all of my therapy sessions are on telehealth now. So before, I was having my mom schedule them because they needed to be on her schedule so she could drive me. But since she doesn't have to drive me anywhere, and this still didn't even click until like a few days ago, since she doesn't have to drive me anywhere, I can schedule them to whatever time works for me. So I will be doing that so that I don't have to worry about like, oh, she didn't schedule another appointment. Oh, I have to go ask again and remind 1,000 times a day to make sure it happens and all of that, because that's frustrating. I hate feeling redundant. I hate asking for stuff more than once. If I ask for it once and it doesn't happen, I'll try to ask for it twice. But after the second time, I'm not trying to be obnoxious. So if it's not happening, obviously you've got more important things to do. So I'm gonna stop bothering you. And that's really what it's been. Um, I've been saying I needed to go back to therapy for months now, and an appointment just hasn't been made. Same thing about the doctors, it's taking me months. And I don't feel like I should have to badger anyone about my health. And it just sucks because, like, obviously, if I could make my own appointments and pay for my own appointments and drive myself to my own appointments, I would absolutely do it. If you know anything about me, you know I am a super independent person. I've actually come to learn that hyperindependence is a result of drama and just not a good thing, and always feeling like I had to fend for myself and do everything myself, not wanting to be a burden on anybody. So I'm proud that I have a level of independence, but the level of independence that I have, I'm not really proud of, because of why it is that way. However, again, this is why it is that way, because I feel like no matter how many times I like ask for stuff or try to reach out for help or try to outsource, people just let me down. So it's like at the end of the day, the only person I feel like I can depend on is myself. And that sucks. But that's really where I am. So I'm just hoping to get through this, because it's really, a struggle is such an understatement. Like, it's a battle, it's a disability. Like, it's so, just, it truly affects and gets in the way of my everyday life, the way I see myself, the way I view life. It really brings down my drive to just keep going and keep pushing through things. Because I don't want to, I'm so tired of being frustrated every day at something that I just can't even understand, and something that I'm not getting help for, and something that I feel like I'm alone in. And it's not okay. And I feel like I have tried to like reach out to my friends. However, unlike anxiety and depression, like, they relate to me with those things, but none of my friends experience derealization. So when I'm like explaining it, it's really hard to explain exactly what I'm going through in a way that like makes them understand, like, I'm like actually like gonna stop participating in my life if this gets any worse, kind of thing. Um I don't know, maybe I should like just start saying that. I guess that's a good way to put it. Like, I really am just gonna like wake up one day and just like not do or want to do anything, because I'm gonna spend the entire day contemplating every single thing that I do. And I don't want to do that. Like, in my opinion, that is no way to live. Like, questioning your every single move, your every single breath, every word that comes out of your mouth, everything you see and do in a day, like, it's exhausting, and I'm tired, and I can't do it anymore. So, I don't know. I wanted to talk about that because it has been a battle for, again, like 2 years now. Um and at first it was there and I was aware of it, but now, in this past, like, I want to say maybe like 9 months, it's gotten really bad. And with every passing day, it just gets worse. And I'm truly concerned as to how much worse it could get from here. Because even when I was experiencing it in the beginning, whenever that was, um, obviously compared to how I feel now, I know it wasn't as bad. But even what I've experienced before, I thought it was bad. So for it to have gotten worse from that point, I have no idea how much worse it could get from this point. And that genuinely scares me. And that's something else that I think about all of the time, is like, when am I gonna get through this? Because derealization is like, it's messed up just my entire life in general, but also like my relationships with people, how I feel at school, my schoolwork. Because of my derealization, I've had no motivation to do anything, any of my daily tasks, especially during the weekdays when I have school. It's made me question, it's made me think that I want to drop out. It's made me think that I wanted to leave the nursing program because I had no energy, so I couldn't like participate in class. I couldn't, memorize or like retain any of the information that we needed to know. And I would have like my teachers say all the time, like, not specifically to me, but just like the overall class in general. Cause like, I mean, like, we're all kind of struggling to like retain the information a little bit. It's just the morale is like very low in general already. But I've just had her say, like, you guys like need to know this stuff and like remember this stuff, and it needs to be drilled into your brain. And just feeling so guilty that for me it isn't, because one, I can't remember anything, and two, I don't really believe that I'm here. So I'm just kind of trudging through every single day on my forearms, just like crawling, and I'm just not really living. I'm really just existing and trying to get through and trying to get by. And I don't want it to be like that anymore. And it can't be like that anymore because, again, I'm not engaged, I'm not retaining information. Um, and it's made me second guess like my whole like nursing pathway, because if I can't, again, I don't know how long this is going to last, how long it's going to be until I can get out of this. So I am nervous about having to take my exams and graduate and all this stuff, and making it to clinicals and not being able to help patients because I can't remember anything that I studied, and feeling like I'm wasting my time to study because I'm not remembering anything and all this stuff. And then even just overall about like my high school experience or lack thereof, realizing that I've already gone through 2 years of high school. In a couple months, I'll be a junior, and I don't remember any of my high school experience. So 2 out of 4 years gone. Technically three, because senior year we won't even be on campus, but once every 2 weeks. So 2 out of 3 years gone, and I don't remember any of it. And I feel like I'm running out of time. And I've looked forward to my high school experience my entire life. So to feel like it's been taken away from me, by myself, my own body, like, that's frustrating and something that's been hard to like think about and deal with as well. So it's like messed up my whole relationship with like school and like education, and second guess what I'm doing and what I want to do, and how I need to go about things. It's also messed up like my relationships in life, because I can't make new friends because I can't remember like my encounters with them. I can't remember like, was this person annoying? Did I like have a good time with them? Like, were they fun to talk to? Did I feel comfortable around them, or like stuff like that? Or just like basic conversations, or even people like that have been in my life, like my nan, for example. She used to live here in Texas. She was one of the reasons we even moved out here, but she just recently moved back to Jersey, and that was like my best friend. Like, I could confide in her. Like, we had such a great relationship, and I would talk to her all the time. But since she moved to Jersey, because of like my derealization and just like not wanting to engage with people over like such a like, I don't know, is desensitized the word, on such a desensitized platform such as like over phone. Especially, she doesn't know how to use FaceTime. She doesn't have an iPhone. So not even being able to like see her and like read facial expressions, like, that would be better. But it's just a phone call. So it's like, I enjoy talking to her, and I know I enjoy talking to her, but I can never remember that enough to like willingly call and like sit through a conversation. Like, it takes me so much to sit through a conversation. I just called her today, and I meant to call her 2 weeks ago. And it took me like every single day I was putting it off. And I was like, I'll call her tomorrow, I'll call her tomorrow. Like, I'm not really in the mood to sit on a phone conversation, and like also being worried, like, if they ask me how I'm doing or how's school or all this small talk. I hate small talk. Am I gonna have to, put on a fake smile and be like, yeah, like, everything's great, like, I'm fine. So there's also that I worry about. So I feel like it's not ruined, but made me feel guilty about a lot of my relationships, especially from like my family back home in Jersey, like, and even my friends here, if I don't see them at school on a regular basis, or see them at all, and our only way of communicating now is through, phone or like social media and stuff. Like, I don't want to just be texting all day or like sitting on the phone all day. I want you to like be here and like have a conversation, or like just come over and like chill. And obviously COVID, so that's made things 8,000 times worse. Because my only way to like really communicate with people if I don't see them is through the phone. And I don't want to sit through these like desensitized conversations, just participating in small talk every day, um, only to like end the call and then be back by myself in the same room watching TV or scrolling through Instagram or anything like that. So it's been bothering me. And again, it hasn't like destroyed my relationships. I feel like I've stopped talking to a couple people. And it's made me feel really guilty about it because I just like I can't keep up with them. Like new friends that I've made, um like online friends, um I just can't keep up with them, and I just haven't been wanting to talk. Like I haven't been answering FaceTime calls from anyone other than like my grandparents really. Um and it's just been really rough. So I just feel like I've like neglected, maybe not, but not intentionally, but I feel like I've neglected like a lot of relationships. And I was talking to my friend Sarah about it, and she's been like really helpful, like getting me to see like the people that really like love you are like will be there for you. And even if they don't completely understand what you're going through, like they're going to just take your word on it that you're going through something and that you're really trying to be there and maintain that relationship, but you also physically can't because of your mental illness. So they will stay around. So she's like really helped me see that. And she's definitely stayed around because I've gone to her so many times now, just like being like, I'm so sorry, like, because I know I can like be honest with her about what I'm going through, and to her it doesn't sound like an excuse. She knows I'm being genuine. That's also another thing that's like I've wanted to explain to the people in my life why I cannot just, I don't know, really engage in our relationship, but I don't want it to come off as an excuse, and I don't want it to like be repetitive, because it's like I'm trying, but let's be real, I'm not really trying because I'm exhausted, and I can't, I feel like I can't really put my energy into that anymore. Um but I've gone to her so many times just saying like I'm so sorry, like we haven't talked, and stuff, because she just graduated last year, so like we don't even go to the same school anymore. So I was just like, I'm so sorry we haven't talked. Like I don't feel like I'm here, and I'm just trying to get through everything, and I'm really depressed and I'm really anxious. And just like don't worry about it. Like you're going through something that you have no control over, and the people that really love you and are in your life to stay will stay. And regardless if they understand it or not, like they'll be there for you, and they'll just take your word that you're really trying. So that's been like really reassuring and really helpful, and I've just had to keep like reminding myself that. I don't know. I miss regular life. Like I miss life before this, cuz it's just such a detrimental thing to like go through and have to deal with. Um and I miss like being able to engage and be social, but I just can't anymore. And I'm just like, everyone that I really want to talk to, I don't want to do it through a phone. I want them to be here. I just want to be able to like call them and be like, hey, come over. Let's just sit in my room. Like, you sit on my bed, I sit in this chair or wherever, and let's just talk. Like, let's just have deep conversations. Let's watch TV together. Let's just chill. You know what? Let's just sit in a room and just like watch TV. Like, we don't have to say anything. We don't have to talk. We don't have to participate in small talk. We don't have to have deep conversations. We don't have to do anything. Let's just sit in a room and like keep each other company. And that's what I've been wanting to do. But again, COVID, obviously. So has not been helpful in like remedies to try and re-engage in my relationships. However, I feel like especially within this past week, over the past few months, I've been like manifesting about it and just wanting to make more plans, go out with my friends more. So in this past few week, I actually have committed to making quite a few plans when I get back from spring break. So hopefully, and this has been with friends that I don't see every single day. So hopefully within this, after these few hangouts, hopefully I personally can get comfortable with like going back out again. And also hopefully my friends will want to like keep making plans and it can be a regular thing. And maybe that will like bring me back into my social life. But still, as far as like my family back home in Jersey, like I've thought about so many people that I wanted to call more often and just like build stronger relationships with. But I just, every time I think about it, it's just such an exhausting and like burdening thing to like just start a phone conversation, not having like anything specific to talk about. Um, and I don't know. I'm definitely, my mind is definitely making it a much scarier situation than it really is. I'm aware of that, but it's still just like, that's like, I don't have anything else to base it off of. So I don't have any like proof to be like, oh, this is gonna be okay, it's gonna be fine. So I don't know. I'm tired. I'm so exhausted with everything, and even just within talking about this, my head is actually really hurting right now. Um just talking about it, cuz it's just reliving it and explaining it. But at the same time, like it does feel good um to just like talk through it and try to work through it and just have some revelations about it. And I think actually just talking about it now was like the first time I like really established a plan for like what I'm going to do about this, cuz I just learned about Dpdr 3 days ago. I think it was like Friday. I think, yeah. It was, the fact that I remember that is actually phenomenal. But it was Friday because it was scrub day and I got up early. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw it was a reel, but it was posted on the main feed cuz I don't watch reels or TikTok. Um and this the lady that was doing the thing, she was like talking about it in the symptoms, and I was like, whoa, I relate. And she was like, go to my like the link in my bio to watch the full YouTube video about me explaining it. And I watched it, and she talked about her journey. Excuse me. She talked about her journey dealing with DPDR, and it sounded like everything that I was going through. However, she did say she had the type of out of body experience where she was like looking at herself from like, she was looking at like a side angle of herself. So like she was standing above her head and just looking down at an angle. I haven't had that experience, but I have had the like back of my body experience that I've explained to people multiple times. But other than that, I don't know how to explain it. And that's also been my thing with like experiencing anything, feeling anything, whether it's like a minor feeling like a body ache or a muscle ache, or something as severe as like depression and DPDR, like instead of having to verbally explain it, I wish that I could take this feeling and temporarily put it in the person that I'm trying to explain it to, because I feel like it would be so much easier instead of trying to find the right words to not only express the severity of what I'm going through, but perfectly portray exactly what I'm feeling. I could just take this feeling and just put it in them. So when they say like, well, how do you feel? I'll be like, here you go. You feel it and tell me how you would describe this. Because I really don't know how to describe it. And I don't know if I'm doing a good job. I don't know if there's a better job that I could do. I think one some this was a few weeks ago. I I was in school. I was in fifth period. I went no. I was in fifth period. I was gonna go. No, I was in sixth period. The bell had rang for me to go to seventh period. I met up with my friends in the hallway, not purposely, like we just saw each other, and their seventh period is DKUH, dual credit US history, and I had just previously had that class, so I went to say hi to my teacher. And I was kind of joking about it because going out of sixth period, I felt really anxious. My body was vibrating, my hands were shaking, and I was starting to have trouble breathing. But I was kind of being like, ugh, quirky about it, I guess. I was just like, oh my god, like, haha, I'm getting anxious. Like, I'm feeling really, really anxious right now. I don't know what's going on. But I went in there and um, usually I feel like, okay, kind of ironically, sometimes some people can realize the severity of what I'm going through more than I'm portraying it, which can actually be a good thing. This was that case. So I went into to her room and I was like, "Hey." And I think I like stood in front of her desk and I was like, I'm getting so anxious. And I showed her my hand and my hand was shaking and her face just kind of like dropped. Come to find out later, she also deals with anxiety. So she knew I was having a panic attack and that I was downplaying it. And she was like, "Are you okay? Do you need to go to the nurse?" And I was like, I don't know. Like, I think yeah, can you like write me a pass? And she was like, yes, absolutely. So she wrote me a pass. I went down there and I explained to the nurse, I was like, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I think I'm having a panic attack. And she got me like a cot and closed the curtain or whatever. And as soon as she closed the curtain, I started bawling and shaking and um I just felt so vulnerable and exposed in a public place. And of course, that made my anxiety worse, especially my social anxiety. So I went through that. I dealt with that. I cried and I sat in there for about 15 minutes. And I don't know exactly what the policy is for high school, but I know in middle school, they were always so quick to kick us out of the nurse's office in like 10, 15 minutes. So I always felt anxious that I was like overstaying my welcome. Um, but I was at a point where I knew that it wasn't going to let up. I knew I was still crying. I knew I was still feeling something. And I knew I could not go back to seventh period. And I didn't want to overstay my welcome in the nurse's office. So I went to her and I was like, can you write me a pass to the counselor, please? And went to the counselor. My counselor wasn't available. So I ended up going to another one. And we sat in there, we talked. My whole point of getting to that was how I ended up in the counselor's office. And she said something to me that it hurt to hear the truth because it was a scary like suggestion and like idea to like go through, but it was probably one of the most honest things about my mental illness that anyone has ever told me. I had explained how I've said so many times like I need to go to therapy, I need to go to the doctor, like I'm trying to warn people and express my severity without them actually having to see me completely destroyed. Um, because that can be a traumatizing thing to see from someone. Imagine just pick a random person in your life and visualize for a moment someone you usually see as like happy or at least chill or calm and like they're always fine. And then one day you just walk in and they're not functioning at all. And you don't know what to do and you're traumatized because you've never experienced that. You don't expect that from that person. And that's what I've been trying to save my family from and people in my life from by just verbally expressing, like, hey, this is severe. Like, I'm waving red flags in your face and I need you to see them, but you're not seeing them. And I expressed that to the counselor and she said, maybe they need to see it. Maybe that will finally get it in their heads that you're struggling. And I just remember bawling again at that moment. I cried harder because it was just such a scary idea. But I knew she was right. And I knew that, maybe one day I'm just going to have to lose it. I'm literally just going to have to just completely put down my armor and stop trying to be this like strong person that's protecting everybody else when obviously the people that I'm like trying to protect don't really seem to care or really aren't trying to grasp the severity of what I've been trying to explain to them. So maybe I need to stop protecting them and maybe I need to protect myself. And the way to protect myself would be going to the doctors and like getting help. And obviously, if being verbal about it isn't working, maybe the only thing that I can do is take that day, pick that day, and be like, I'm not getting out of bed today. And wait until someone comes in and tries to wake me up and I can't move. And maybe that will show them, like, this is how serious this is. Yes, it is a mental thing, it is my brain, but it's not just in my head in the way that that phrase is portrayed. It is a real thing that I'm going through, and it's not just, you know, some generic teenage thing where I walk around saying, oh, I'm depressed, oh, I deal with anxiety. Like, it's real, it's very real, and it's debilitating. It is completely and utterly debilitating to my life, and I can't like function like a regular person, and I have to work 1,000 times harder just to do what everyone deems as basic things in a day. And that's not okay, and that's not normal. Um so yeah, that was my experience, and honestly, like, one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever been given, more than the cliche, like, everybody goes through things and all that crap, because never tell someone that. Never ever tell someone that. If someone is coming to you and saying, that they're dealing with something, especially mental illness, never ever say everybody deals with things. This is not about everybody else. This is about that person. First of all, before you even respond, ask if they want your response, because they're opening up to you and they're being vulnerable. And that is, I mean, that's gold. That is actual gold. And you don't just burn gold. If someone gives you gold, you don't just burn it. And someone opening up to you is gold. And you saying everybody deals with stuff is burning it. And it's so disrespectful and it's detrimental, and it's why people don't open up. Because they get all these blanket statements like everybody deals with stuff and you're not alone and all this crap. Like, it doesn't matter, because regardless of, yeah, those facts that everybody deals with stuff, this is what I'm dealing with. And obviously I'm struggling. Obviously I'm not doing well because of it. So instead of saying that, ask, how can I help? How can I be there for you? Or if you don't want to help, just saying something like, I don't understand what you're going through, but I'm here for you. If you want to keep talking, feel free to. Or just like stuff like that, but don't say like everybody goes through stuff or stuff like that, because what is that supposed to mean? It's literally a blanket statement. You're like, oh, everybody goes through it. You're fine. You're going to be fine. It's okay. It's normal to wake up every day and, literally not be able to get out of bed. It's normal to sit through a class and at the end of the day not remember anything. It's normal for voices to literally drown out when you go through your day-to-day life. It's not normal. Like, that's what that's saying, that what you're going through is normal. And especially if you're not hearing the signs and symptoms of, this person that's telling you that they're going through something, like, you can't just say that that's normal. You're not a doctor. You can't determine that. And obviously, if they're expressing it to you, it's not normal, because if it was normal, they wouldn't be talking about it the way that they are. So that's something I've also dealt with. It's just, I've gotten a lot of blanket statements from people. So talking to that counselor was such a good thing, and it was the best piece of advice that I had ever gotten. And I just wanted to share it with you guys, because I'm hoping that one day, like, I'll be able to deal with it, and like actually make that happen and go through it, and take that one day again to just wake up and be like, you know what? I can't do it, and someone's gonna have to walk in and help me out or do something or just let me be. It's probably just gonna take that one day where I can't move, I can't speak, I can't walk, I can't eat, for the people that need to realize that this is a serious thing and it's a debilitating thing, and it interferes with my physical, social, and emotional life. Period. And it sucks. And again, it's what I've been trying to protect a lot of people in my life from. However, obviously they're not taking my red flags. So got to get the red dye back out and make the red a bit brighter. But yeah, oh my gosh, I'm tired. Like, I'm so tired, and my head hurts. It always hurts, and I'm always tired. And just no matter what I do in a day, I just don't feel like I'm doing enough to just keep myself okay. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that is my story experience with Dpdr. And again, I'm not officially diagnosed, but I really don't know what else it possibly could be. So that's what I'm going with. And yeah. Also, I finished my nails, by the way. They look really good. I'm really proud. That was super quick. Also, sorry if you hear like thumping and screaming in the background. My siblings are in the living room. You're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to cut it out of the audio, obviously, but my mouth is actually really far away from the mic. So, yeah. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed this episode. I look really cute right now. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I look really cute. Um, also, this is just really comfortable. I am sweating right now because talking about my emotions makes me anxious. But it felt really good to talk about this and to get this off my chest, and again, to just come back on my platform where I can talk about this unapologetically and just really truly express myself. So that's felt really good. And I did my nails, killed two birds with one stone. Super proud of that. My room is a mess right now from that photo shoot that I did earlier. If I remember to film one, I'll do a video. I'll record what I'm looking at right now. It looks a mess. I've got a suitcase over here on my left and my airport outfit. My bed is like kind of made. I got like Vaseline and tape and scissors over there. This side of my desk is messy. It looks weird and gross. I got my cello on there. I've still got all of my sheet music on the wall because that was my backdrop. I've got my box light setting up here, giving us gorgeous light for this video. I've still got my space heater out. I've got the bag for my box light, my cello bow, and my sheet music folders all sitting on the floor. I've got my pajama pants that I changed out of, like, just stuff everywhere. It's just chaos. Absolute chaos. I've got flats over here, my backpack sitting in the corner. So I need to clean up. But this was just very comfortable. Love the vibes. I'm also watching the sunset right now. It looks gorgeous. And yeah. But thank you guys literally so much for listening to me all the time. If this is the first episode that you've heard of my podcast, welcome. I'm literally so excited to have you in the family. I hope that you stay and feel free to listen to the other episodes. If you're on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe. No, rate, review, and subscribe. I'm sorry. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And yeah, again, just thank you guys so much for like listening and being here. And it feels so good to have this platform, and I feel like I can't express that enough. And yeah, I love you guys so much. You can also go subscribe to my personal YouTube channels, Destiny Grantham and Destiny Grantham Vlogs. You can follow my Instagram, my Snapchat. All of those things will be linked down below, as well as my print shop and photography portfolio if you want to check those out too. Everything will be linked down below. Thank you so much for listening to me and being an ear and being here. If you relate to anything I talked about in this, or even just like experiencing like social disconnects with like people in your life because of quarantine and COVID, and that harboring and like putting a wall between like communicating with people and like how we communicate with people, if you've dealt with that, like feel free to reach out in any way you can. I will leave the Growing Up Wildflower email out here if you want to send an email. It can be totally anonymous if you want. You just want to like reach out, or if you related to anything here, and if anything I said was just helpful or whatever, I hope I could like be here and be supportive, or at least just be like entertainment. If you're doing something you need a podcast to listen to, just hopefully I could do something for you, be there for you in any way, shape, or form. And if there's anything else you want me to talk about in a future episode, or any other way that I could be of support, please let me know. Because you guys already do so much for me. Also, oh my gosh, as of this episode, Sunday, March freaking 7th, I just checked the other day, and we have 500 listens. 500, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh my gosh, the audience, I know the audience says 6, but it like resets every month or every season. I don't know why, but yeah, we've hit 500 listens and I'm literally so excited. Look at our audience details. So we've got, hold on. Oh, that's all. Okay. Hold on. Okay, technical difficulties. Sorry. So we got the US. Whoa. Hold on. Let me turn my screen brightness down. Sorry. Still can't see it. Oh, there you go. Okay, so you got the US, Ireland, the United Kingdom, Germany, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, the Philippines, Canada, and Australia all listening. So if you are from any other geographic region other than the United States, please leave a review or comment on the YouTube or something saying where you're from and how you found this podcast, how you're liking the podcast. I'm literally so excited. We also have a 13, wow, it was 11% the other day. We have a 13% male listener analytic, which is literally crazy. So for all my men out there or boys or whatever, all my males out there, my 13%, hey, so glad to have y'all here. Thank you for listening. Also to all my females, all my non-binary, all my transgender, all my unspecified, like whatever you are, whatever you specify or don't specify as, welcome. So glad to have you here. Love you the most. To my LGBTQ plus community, hey. And yeah, I'm so excited. So here's my age analytics, and this is all according to Spotify. So like if you listen on like Apple Podcasts or like Overcast or Pocket Cast or any other platform, I don't think you're accounted for. So these are only according to Spotify. 0 to 17 is 35%, 18 to 22 is 8%, 23 to 27 is 27%, 28 to 34 is 24%. We don't have any 34 to 44, but 44 or 45 to 59 is 5%. So I've got some older people here. I've got my, teenagers, so 0 to 17 is my highest audience demographic for age. And then my second highest is 23 to 27. Third is 28 to 34. Fourth is 18 to 22. And then fifth is 45 to 59. But yeah, so hey, all of you guys, literally, I love looking at analytics. I'm an analytics junkie. I'm obsessed with numbers and stuff. I love YouTube analytics too, but especially podcast analytics. It's just so interesting to like see who's listening. So yeah, if you guys are from any other like platform or anything, just let me know. And it's so awesome to see y'all. But yeah, I think that is all I got for this episode today. I'm going to end it there. And again, thank you so much for listening. If you feel like rating, reviewing, subscribing from any platform, go ahead and do that. Welcome to the fam if you're new. And yeah, I will hear you guys next week for another episode. Wildflower out.